Alright, guys, what's up? I haven't filmed in around 2 to 3 months now, actually. So, yeah, it's long overdue that I finally start sharing again. But, yeah, I wanted to put this video across and just completely speak non-filtered as usual. You know me. I don't really script any of my videos. I'm not really trying to go down like a particular angle. I'm just trying to feed you guys with the truth, and part of the reason why I'm making this content as well is to speak to my younger self. So yeah, in the last 2 3 months I have learned a lot about the reality of my life, where I'm headed, what's my vision, what are my goals, what am I really trying to do here. So let's just get right into it, and I guess tell you, yeah, the four things that the gurus out there really like lying about, or just like giving a false sense of impression. So the number one thing is the cash flow game, and I know I've talked about this earlier in my videos, but I've come to realize now that it's actually not the best game to play. Now, don't get me wrong, cash flow is good. In fact, you want that. So, kind of gonna be like somewhere in the middle here, not on an extreme where I'm gonna say, oh, it's completely shit or it's completely good. I'm just gonna say, look, the cash flow game it's a good game, but it's not the end goal. It's not the main goal. So the next time you see all these gurus talking about 10K a month, 100K a month, whatever that is, it really doesn't matter. Like, if you actually want to break down the numbers and look at people who have fuck you level of money, okay, 100K a month is really not going to do it. Probably a million a month, but then again, you need you need to be very very exceptional to do 100K a month. Sorry, a million a month. And yeah, it's good, cash flow is good, but if you really want to be like wealthy, and I'm not talking rich, I'm talking wealthy, it's not really a cash flow game, and I'm gonna get into that in my last point. But yeah, forget these numbers. Whenever these guys are throwing these numbers like 10K a month, 100K a month, don't really take that at like face value. It's a lot of money, but think about how you actually build the wealth with that, right? Because even if I'm doing 100K a month, and this is all US dollars, by the way, most of you guys are living in India, that's amazing money. And honestly, it is amazing money when you're spending in rupees. But look, it would still take me 12 months or like 3 years just to hit like 3.6 million before tax, before expenses, any of that shit. Okay. So that's not a lot of money. I'm here living in Dubai for the next 3 months. I'm here kind of in my halfway point, but I have met the most wealthy people here, and some, for example, like there's one person who has a 170-foot yacht, but he had to just buy another 70-foot yacht to go to that 170-foot yacht just because they won't let them dock that big yacht there. So when you think about like this type of money, like that man probably spent like at least 10 million dollars on just yachts. So when you think about that, when you look at people like this, ask yourself, does a million a month or even 100K a month really solve that? Does it really get you there? No, it fucking doesn't. So got the whole bullshit of cash flow and all this 100K a month, all of that. Like, it's not really the flex in my opinion. And yeah, just beware of all the gurus that are just talking all these numbers, because in the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. The main goal I will get into in my last point, but the second point, okay, the second point is the laptop lifestyle is a fucking myth. Okay, do not fall into this trap of, oh, I can do anything wherever I want, all that shit. Look, you do have your freedom, you do have your location freedom, you do have your time freedom. Like me, for example, I'm here in Dubai, I'm here living by myself, I'm 19, I'm paying for my rent, whatnot, and I'm living my life where I could go wherever I want. But look, if you want to be focused, okay, and most of the guys that I know, at least the A level players that I would like to associate myself with, they don't do this kind of shit where they're traveling every single month. Okay, nobody's traveling every single month unless they aren't excelling. Okay, in life there's only digressing and progressing. There's nothing as being like stagnant. Okay, there's nothing like being constrained to one level. You're either going up or you're going up or you're going down. Okay, so when you're doing that shit, okay, you cannot be going and living every single place every single month. Look, it takes time to emotionally unpack when you get to a place, and then think about doing that every single month, 12 times in a year. You don't really have a laptop lifestyle. The next time you see anybody working off a laptop in a coffee bar or a coffee shop and saying that was my work day, that is complete bullshit. Okay, the people who are doing proper work, they're at their house, they have that one place that they always want to go and work, they have a monitor set up, and they just have a nice work setup where they can go and then work for 12 fucking hours a day. which brings me to the whole time freedom shit, right? When you're in the starting stages, and for honestly the first few years, okay, it's a marathon. That's also one thing I want to bring. Don't think that okay, I have hit my 10K a month and that's it. It's a marathon. You have to keep going. You have to keep working every single month if you want to hit your targets and maintain what you've built so far. Okay, so with that comes long hours. You're the guy. You're the man. Okay, you're the founder of the agency. You're the one who does the most. You're the one who's getting the most output. You're the one who knows everything. You're the one who's built it all. So with that comes a lot of investment, time investment. So don't fall for all these guys that are going and doing all this stupid ass shit on weekdays. The other day I was sitting with my friend. He opened this random YouTube video, okay, and this actually brings into the third point, which is the real lifestyle, and just don't fall for the lifestyle that you guys see online, okay. I was with him, okay. He opened this YouTube video of this one trading guy who had an online course, of course. This guy living in Miami, okay? He wakes up on a Tuesday morning. The first thing he does is he goes to the gym, which is good, okay, fine. But that's the bare minimum, okay? After that, what he does is he just meets his friend. He goes and this friend he comes in his fucking McLaren, and then they're just talking about the fucking exhaust for half an hour. And I'm sitting there thinking, like, that you actually done that shit for half an hour, like you really don't have better things to do with your life and your time if you're making money. So he did that. Went to some luxury designer store. I don't even remember the fucking name. I didn't really care. And then he just bought his friend. He just saw his friend buy some shit for his girlfriend. Then after that, they go to have some fancy steak lunch. Then they go and they just go to the club on like a Tuesday night, and they're drinking, and then they're starting day drinking and all this bullshit. Okay, fucking bullshit. So it was like a 26-minute long video, and then in like the 23rd minute he finally talks about what he does, and he doesn't even give any value about what he does. Like, he's a trader, but he just doesn't give any sort of insights to his audience as to what he can do to actually make it better. He's just talking about, oh yeah guys, I'm hopping on the call with my students now. That's it. And he shows some fucking charts on Zoom. And I'm sitting there and thinking there are actually like a ton of people that are doing this shit, and I realized, I never associated myself with those type of people because that's not the real lifestyle I would like to show. And I'm not saying it's bad to go for fancy dinners or get that car or get the Rolex. I think you should definitely do that wisely, but that's not your everyday. That's not your real lifestyle. Okay, that's not a real lifestyle that you're gonna be set up for if you truly want to make like generational wealth and be the guy that makes his entire bloodline never want to work again. Okay, that's the kind of shit I'm talking about. So these guys, they're probably making a lot of money. They're probably making a lot more money than I'm doing cash wise. But then they're also spending a lot more, right? Because they're going for these fancy dinners, and forget the spending. Okay, talk about the opportunity cost of going and doing these things. I always think in opportunity cost. I'm always thinking, fuck, if I actually went and traveled half an hour and came back half an hour, I could have just worked for that 1 hour. Why did I go and get coffee when I could have just ordered it in? That's the kind of anxiety I work on and opportunity cost that I think of. Okay, so they're doing all this thing with their time. That's in fact a bigger cost, but then they're also spending so much more of their money. They're making 100K a month, for example. They're going and having this fancy dinner on a weekday. Then they're going and they're partying. They're getting a nice table and all this bullshit, and they're spending like half of their money. And I'm sitting and thinking, wow, like that's like hats off to you, bro. I would get insane anxiety if I did that shit. So that's the real lifestyle, okay? Don't fucking fall for this bullshit out there. The real lifestyle is when you're working, you wake up at that exact same time you've been waking up for the last 3 months. You go to the gym, you come back, you get ready, you have your coffee. Maybe you don't even have coffee, like some of them don't. And then you just work for 12 fucking hours. The only break you get is lunch, breakfast, and dinner. That's it. Okay, and that dinner is like a 10-minute fucking quick. Okay, cool, back in the game. That's how it should be. Okay, that's how it should be for most of your time and most of your days. Now, I'm not saying live like a fucking robot. Again, when I'm talking about all of these things, I need you to understand how to be non-binary. Okay, there's no extreme of go and just fucking club and party and go and just spend all your money, or like go and just work. No, I'm talking like, okay, do that shit for like a good 2 months, then take like 2 3 days vacation, whatever, and then come back in the game. Okay, you don't have to do like just like work like a fucking robot like Elon Musk. But my point is, there are many people that still think they're getting the most out of their day, but you're not. So that's why I'm gonna say, okay, yeah, you have to be doing those 12-hour days because generally you do. That's what it takes. And I'm telling you, there are people out there that do that stuff. They do that stuff. Okay, they have that level of output. It's possible. Trust me. I know you cannot. understand that level of work just because people just are distracted these days. They're doing like 4 hours of fucking work and they think that's it. And I have done the most I could, and they're proud with that shit. That's bare, like that's bare minimum, okay? Like I know guys that are doing fucking, they're waking up at 5 a.m. and they're working to like 8 p.m. and then they have that 1 hour where they just wind down and they're sleeping and then they're back in the game. So there's levels to this game. Please don't understand and think that okay, fine, I'm doing the most. You're not. It has to be those long hours. That's what it really takes. That's point number three. Now, point number four, the most important point. Agencies and all of these SEO, SMMA business models, they don't have enterprise value, especially the info product. Okay, for example, now, if I have an info product, I can never sell that because as soon as I sell that, the lead gen to getting my clients is gone because I'm the face of that. So I can never technically sell that business. So info products, they are way more scalable than an agency, and most of these other agencies, they don't even have enterprise value, or they probably do. I'm not sure. I'm not gonna speak on that, but I know for a fact my business model and influencer marketing agency, they do have enterprise value, and I'm very blessed to have fallen into that without even knowing I was supposed to be in that. But yeah, I'm really blessed because I also have really great mentors. I have really great people around me that know what's the right vision, what's the right goal, and I don't have stupid mentors that are just being these gurus out there and that are just selling you all this bullshit. Okay, they're not gonna be like that. So pick your mentors wisely as well. That's what I would say. But the main point is you need enterprise value because if I go back to my first point, right, I'm making all that money, I'm making all that cash, but then I don't really have a way of getting to that next level, that wealthy level. Okay, being in Dubai, I have friends whose dads are fucking billionaires, frankly, and they have friends that I have met at lunches and whatnot, and they all have just fuck you money. And the first thing that they would always ask me when they found out that I was running my own business at this age was, "What is the name of your business?" And that was kind of surprising because the level that they operate at, if they don't know your business, or if their business is not known, then it's technically like that's not even their game, that's not even the level they're playing at, right? So the first thing they asked me was, "What's the name of your business?" And I was like, okay, damn, because even if I give the name of my business, it's not like the fucking business out there that everybody knows of. Okay, when you take all these other big businesses like Nike, whatever it is, Nike, Adidas, whatever it is, right, Gucci, they all have enterprise value, right? That is the kind of businesses that those people work in, and they understand that game. And those are the kind of games and moves that you play for 9 figures, 10 figures. So enterprise value is definitely the most important thing, and agencies like mine, they do have that potential, which I'm really glad I do, because I would generally be in a life crisis otherwise. But yeah, make sure you're going for those business models in the start. Okay, when you're seeing all these people online, they're making all this money at a young age. This whole point of the video, I'm not saying don't believe that, because I'm telling you that side is there. I am one of those people, I'm one of those exceptions that have managed to do this at a young age. But when you see all these things, also think, what do I want to start? What is my real goal here? If your goal is simple, to make 10, 20 grand a month and you're chilling, and that's really good money, especially for someone living in India, fine. But if you really want to have fuck you money, make sure you start the business that has enterprise value. Okay, don't fall for what the gurus are saying. Go for that 10K a month goal. That's fine, not the best solution, but if you want to just truly invest your time and years into something meaningful, go for something that has enterprise value. So yeah, these are the four things that the gurus will never ever talk about. And honestly, even if you have an info business that's doing a million a month, or a million a month is still good, but you see all these other guys. There are honestly other info businesses out there that are doing like 5 million, 10 million, 10 million a month, which is also really good because yeah, I don't know the systems and scales to that, because sometimes they do have paid ads and whatnot, and they do have lesser margins, but the margins are still very relatively very thin. So it's not really a bad thing to do. It's only one thing, which is you still have to like grind every single month and make sure you're hitting your numbers again and again and staying at least flatline consistent or growing. So yeah, you are kind of still like trading your time for money, and you're in the trenches and whatnot. So when you have enterprise value, you kind of have like a system running, and you have your employees running it for you, and your time out of it does go off. I'm not saying that's an excuse to be lazy and not do your work, but it does get it off, and that's in fact the goal, to then eventually sell and make fucking millions, like tons, tens of millions. Okay, so that should be your number one goal when you're first starting out. I don't care what anyone says about, build cash flow and then go and invest that. That's fine. But then again, you have to like pretty much start from zero and start a new business. So those are my main 4 points and the four things that truly piss me off about the gurus out there. And this is something that I've learned slowly in the last 2 to 3 months. And yeah, I haven't posted in a while, but yeah, I'm back now. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next video.